The first step is to set up an application with the social login provider of your choice. In this case, I'm going to start out with Facebook. So I'm just going to head over to developers.facebook.com/apps. And in here, I'm going to click Add New App. And I'm going to select Website. And I'm going to create a new one called Pluralsight Demo. And no, it's not a test version. And the category would be, I guess, education. And instead of going through this step-by-step quick start, I'm just going to click My Apps and then click on Pluralsight Demo. The only thing we need to set up in here is the redirect URI for the OAuth flow. It's available under Settings, Advanced, and then down here you see Valid OAuth Redirect URIs. For this application, the OAuth Redirect URI is going to be http://www.owin.demo/signin-facebook. The /signin-facebook is actually configurable in the middleware that we're going to use, but there's no reason to change it in this case. So let's just save the changes here. So now that we've got our Facebook application created, it's time to do the actual integration with our web application. The first step is obviously to get some more NuGet packages. In this case, the package we need is microsoft.owin.security.facebook. And with that in place, it's time to head over to the startup class and add the Facebook authentication middleware to our pipeline. And as usual, we use the use Facebook authentication extension method to add the middleware to the pipeline. And since we need to configure it with some settings from our Facebook application, we need to pass in a Facebook authentication options instance as well. The first configuration property we need to set is the app ID. We can find the value for this by heading over to the Facebook webpage and have a look at the Basics tab. In here you'll find the app ID, so I'm just going to copy that across to my app ID setting. The next thing we need to set is the app secret. This can also be found on the Facebook webpage. However, the app secret is secret, so it's actually hidden by default. So the first thing we need to do is press show, and then we can copy the value across to our setting. The last configuration we need to do is set up what is called the sign in as authentication type. And that tells the middleware what authentication type it should act as. Since we only got one type that we're working with, I'm going to set this to application cookie. This means that whenever somebody logs in using Facebook, they will automatically get an application cookie and they'll be logged into the application. In a real scenario, it's likely that you would have them sign in with a separate cookie and then have a separate step where you would transfer them from being a socially logged in user to being a proper web application user. But for this demo, I'm just going to leave it as a straight login to show that it works. With the Facebook authentication middleware in place and configured as it should, it's time to add an action to ASP.NET MVC that can be used by anyone who wants to log in. And in this case, it doesn't seem unreasonable to put it into the auth controller. So down here at the end of that class, I'm going to add a new action, and I'm going to call it login Facebook. And what I need to do inside of this action is actually not that complicated. First of all, I need to get hold of the OWIN context. So I'm going to go http://context.getOWIN-context. And then I'm going to go .authentication.challenge. Because what I want to do is create what is called a challenge. And to that challenge method, I'm going to pass an instance of authentication properties. This is a class that we can use if we want to configure the way that the challenge is created. In this case, I want to make sure that the redirect URI is set to /secret. And finally, I have to tell it what authentication type I want to use. And in this case, that's going to be Facebook. And at the end of my action, I need to return something back to the user. And for this to work, it needs to be an HTTP unauthorized result. This will then be picked up by the cookie authentication middleware, which will create the challenge for us and send it to the client. And for anyone to actually reach this action, I guess we need to make some changes to the UI. So I'm just going to open up the login view and have a look at that. So at the end here, I'm going to add a new div, and then I'm going to use html.actionLink to create a new link. And I'm going to use the text login with Facebook, and the name of the action that I want to link to is login Facebook. Okay, so let's see if that works. Okay, so we get the login form and we do get the login with Facebook link. So let's try and click that. Okay, so we get the Facebook login page. That's encouraging. So let's log in and see if it actually works. Well, we get the consent form that says that application Pluralsight demo will receive my public profile. And since I do trust the person who built this application, I'm just going to press OK. And there we are. We're back to our page and we're obviously authenticated. And if we have a look at the claims, we've got 3 of them in here. We've got the name identifier, which is some number. We got the urn:/Facebook:name, which contains my name. And we've got the proper name claim as well, that also contains my name. So it seems like our Facebook integration is working as it should.